Hey everyone, it's Maydad here from YNV Health and Wellness, and tonight I'm joined with a great friend of mine, Angie Neaves. Now, Angie Neaves is a health and wellness coach, she's a hypnotherapist, and she's worked in the health and wellness industry for many years. Angie, it's great to catch up with you. How you doing?
I'm really well, my dad. Thanks for having me.
Oh,
I'm a
it's
little
great.
bit nervous, but I'm okay.
Oh, don't be, because you're going to make me nervous. But look,
No,
it's
no, no. I haven't ever done this before, so I'm excited and nervous, but I'm very excited to be here.
look with your qualifications and experiences. This is all second nature. And in a minute, we're going to delve into your journey and what you've been up to and the great things that you've been doing and the great plans that you have for the near future. I met Angie some time ago, several years ago, in one of the courses that we were running, and it's been a great journey. Seeing her evolve and do her stuff and the great work that she does. Tonight's topic that we're going to be discussing is natal support and a few other things that Angie does. But first of all, Angie, could you share with some of our viewers a little bit about your journey and things that you've
Yeah,
done to get to where
yeah,
you are right now?
yeah, absolutely. So, as a young child, I came from two broken homes and, had all of that instability growing up and never wanted that. Probably was one of my biggest fears, not having that stability. And so I definitely wanted to have, all of my children to the same man and have that solid family unit. So I did have all of my children. I have four beautiful kids, and all I ever wanted in life was to be a mum, and have that family unit. And unfortunately, like the marriage didn't work out, which which is when I really started to, dig into myself and, started looking at, you know, emotionally what he gave me, because he gave me a lot of that stability and security that I was yearning for, and the family unit, because he come from a very solid family unit. So he filled those needs up of mine. However, there was a massive part of both of us that, didn't connect. But because I had those needs met, I was more than happy to pursue things, and which is how we work, as you know, Maydad, you know, um, with traumas and things like that, when, um, you know, we will sacrifice our values to get our needs met and things like that. So I started sort of really digging into myself then, and then since then I'd had done lots of work over the past 15 years, and you know I I have been a professional photographer, and for, oh gosh, like over 15 years, and my niche there was newborn babies. Like I just have this like inner, like, burning passion and desire for these new little babies. I just love them so
You and
much.
everybody else.
Yeah, I know. And they're just so adorable to be with, and I just wanted to be with them every day. And you know, and so then, that so part of the journey, then I sort of had another couple of, you know, quite toxic failed relationships that led me on more working with the mind, and where I sort of tapped into sort of like hypnotherapy and those kind of deeper subconscious healings. And in doing so, I uncovered a lot of my own, and and then since then, I have also had, a lot of transformation in my own life, and seen just how much my life has flourished ever since I've sort of, you know, accepted those shitty parts of me and sort of shined light on them. And, you know, then, yeah, I was doing it for the people around me. And, you know, and I've helped since then, like I sort of had stepped into sort of coaching and my hypnotherapy and supporting women in particular, um, you know, supporting women with, you know, their traumas, their anxiety and depression and lacking confidence and, you know, just really just like keeping themselves sort of small, you know, and you can see it, you know, with like the work that we do, like you can just see it a mile off when someone just has these massive limiting beliefs of how it would just, you know, steer their life in a direction of just they're not happy. And, you know, I knew that following your heart's desires creates, you know, that true peace and happiness. And, you know, like I'm sure inner peace is ultimately all of our goal, you know, at the end of the day. You know, and you can't just get that. Like, you know, you can't buy it. I mean, you know, like you have to be it and live it and heal those parts of you. So I really enjoyed that, you know, really empowering and encouraging women to really, you know, self-reflect and just on their own sort of, you know, healing and wellness journeys, self-discovery, just moving, you know, through all their own stuff and really transforming their lives. And, you know, I've had great success with that. And um, and then, you know, about 12 months ago, I had a time in my life where I sort of had an opportunity, like the universe sort of made me a little bit uncomfortable to really sort of look at where and what I really want to do with the rest of my life, you know. And so back to babies, you know, I love them so much, you know, and pregnant women, and I'd been pregnant 4 times. So I am well experienced.
I forgot to mention that you had 4 kids. But
Yeah,
touching on
so
that on the note of giving birth, isn't it such an incredible, unselfish,
it,
beautiful, beautiful gesture from all women? And
it
those women
is,
that don't want to have babies, this is not for you, but this is for the women that do want to give birth and do want to be mothers. And I've seen my wife. I remember when both my son, my firstborn, was born, you know, and my
yeah,
daughter. And I just thought it was
yeah.
the most powerful and the most beautiful thing that you could ever experience
It truly is. It
as a father.
truly is. And I think, you know, so from the work that, you know, from my experience doing it 4 times, and then as I'm growing and learning, and then I'm hearing all of these stories, and, you know, like I would have babies coming into the studios and I'd be talking to mums and I'd be hearing about their birthing experiences. And I know what mine was like. And, you know, they're quite traumatic and, but they don't have to be. And, you know, and so anyway, I'm now moving my business into totally supporting mums um, while pregnant, while giving birth, and in their early postnatal stages. So I've been working very hard training to be a doula and a placenta encapsulator, which is just incredible, that I'm really excited to sort of talk with you about because, you know, it's not for everybody. Um,
Can you tell us,
but
can you tell us about some of this work that you do? What's involved and what do you love about it so much? I know
oh,
we both talked about the beauty of you know, I just thought it was the most amazing moment in my life to see my son get born when he was born and my
yeah,
daughter. And I just thought like that was a part of me that I'd never experienced before as a father, and I think most men feel that way. Um, and
Absolutely.
part of
And,
that I experienced.
for, for the dads, there needs to be some, some good solid support to prepare them, because, they're not having the physical changes that gradually kind of make you adjust to, all of a sudden there's a baby in your life, but that's down the track. But
Neve, what I did realize, um, and it's the most, as I said, is the most incredible, most beautiful thing for a woman to do to give birth to a child. And that's everybody has their own
it's
personal
it's
perception. But
phenomenal,
as
isn't
a
it?
male, I've seen lots of males, and this is a struggle that males have, and they fail to acknowledge it. But what happens is prior to the birth of a child, they're number one, and they go through their honey and handsome time. That wears off after a while.
Mm,
The honeymoon period wears off, and there's less connection built, unless they're having intimacy, and
yeah.
that wears off after a while. And then the child is born. And when the child is born, the husband is no longer number one, he becomes number three because she's number
Yeah.
two, the baby's number one. And then the next one is born, and he is no longer number three, he's number four. And that can play on the mind of a lot of males, a lot of men. And I
Yeah,
know
absolutely.
for me, and
Yeah.
I'm centered, I'm strong, I'm disciplined,
Yeah.
and I have strong old school values. I come from a family that, my dad, we had three boys in the family, and he understood his role, and he understood that the importance of, motherhood, of fatherhood, and he knew his role, and he did a great
Yeah.
job, I believe, with the
Yeah.
job that he had. But I think today it's so easy for males, for people to kind of feel an emotion that is really unexplainable. It's an
Mm.
emotion that they just don't feel as validated, they don't feel as wanted, they don't feel
Yeah.
as warm as they did when it was just them and their partner. Um,
Yeah, or desired. And I think, like that's just, beautiful awareness, and you experiencing that, that's definitely something, that I don't know, I feel you just got to spread the news, spread the word to people because um, you're not the only one. Like I think most men would feel like that, and it would be really hard for them to you know, accept that. But also at the same time, which is really interesting, is a lot of times the mum is feeling the same. She's feeling not desired and not, she sort of is not feeling like, she feels lonely and isolated and she lost her identity. And all of a sudden, she's like, I mean, it sounds bad, but she's just a mum now, she's lost her identity of who she was, and she can grieve the past, and so can the dad. And I think it's so important, in those family units for mum and dad to both really connect and get deep and raw and vulnerable and open with each other, because really that you feel the same, So, hi.
Glennis has just joined us. Hi, Glennis. How are you?
That's my mom.
Nice. Now I know where you get your good looks from.
Oh, thank
Looking at me.
you.
Nice to have
Yeah,
you.
so that's
Yes.
all of that stuff is so important and so vital, because I think with how vulnerable and exhausted and all the other, like postpartum fatigue and sets in, and depression can set in, it's very common to follow on sort of after postpartum fatigue, which is just through your exhaustion or lacking iron and things like that. So it's so important for the relationship to
To
to have
blossom.
that deeper understanding of each other, and just, yeah, that patience and talk, and you know be on the same page like a team, and and yeah, and then you've kind of got like sort of masculine and feminine energies, sort of like roles getting a little bit like mixed up and confused in the home and things like that, which I think plays a big part. But primarily, I don't believe that happens kind of immediately after the baby's born. Mum just really needs to sit and just be. And if she's got to feed all day, then she's got to feed all day and not feel the pressures of, you
No,
know,
yeah,
having to
yeah.
cook a meal um, and yeah, do
I
the
think what's
housework.
really, I think what's really interesting, Angie, is when we go to schools, these life lessons are not taught to us, and then until we leave school and we experience these um, uh, life, real life
Yeah,
education. There
exactly.
is no school to be a mother. There is no school to be a father. There is no school to really, um, you know, express and feel
Prepare
love.
yourself. Yeah, you're
Exactly.
exactly right. You need a license even to own a dog.
Yeah.
Um, well, and there's not, you're right, there's nothing there um for parents. And so I'm so excited. I have built a brand new app which I am dropping all of my work inside there. I have a very in-depth 40 weeks of pregnancy, which is, week by week guide of where mum and where baby is, with, video and photos and just a guide. And I also have,
Can you tell us a little bit about a bit more about that app and what led you to produce this app? It sounds really interesting.
yeah, it is so amazing. And, I have designed it with a few elements involved. So there is obviously like an online element, which there's a lot of free content on there. There's some beautiful meditations and things like that for mum while she's pregnant. And there are some, sort of 20-minute healings, and then I do have sort of mini courses and 10-week programs to move you through sort of big emotional trauma releases, and really learn to trust and believe in yourself, and love yourself, ultimately, because when you shine light on all of those darker parts of you, like it ripples out, like you have a happy mum and you have a happy home, and it ripples out to your baby. And when mum, and I'm not too sure if the new first mums would be as aware of this until she might have her second or third baby, because, going from experience, you don't really know what you're in for, but you do. Once you've had one, you sort of think, oh crap, like, that was tough. And however it was, either it was traumatic and you don't want to go through that experience again. Personally, for myself, I was 26 when I had my first baby, and I felt like I was all grown up and knew everything, and I was married and had the house and had the baby, and but I still was very naive and literally just got swept into the medical system. So um which is okay, but it didn't I didn't really get an opportunity to really sort of touch on actually what I wanted for the birth of the baby until I got to my fourth one.
Yeah,
And
it's incredible how, as you said, being so naive and that. you just want to make sure everything's right. You want to just the baby's healthy, you're healthy. And as you
Yeah,
go along, you
exactly.
realize, well, you know what? No, I'm not, I don't want to have the baby vaccinated. Just for argument's sake, I'm not saying
Yeah,
you did or you didn't. Or
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to be taking these pills. And I don't want to go that route. And yeah, I want a water birth. I want it done in
That's
the
right.
so
Yeah.
it is like 'cause my sister-in-law does all that stuff with water birthing and
Oh, beautiful. I
um,
need to meet her.
yeah, her name's Nicole Moore. She's on Facebook and she runs workshops on underwater
Oh,
stuff, and she's just really great at what she does. And she travels the world to America, to England, to different places to educate people on
on
on that specific education of birthing and just natural birthing.
I love that.
Um,
That's right. Well, so that's exactly where I'm moving as well, Maida, because, you know, I think younger women, they don't have that trust in their own body and their own ability to be able to
yeah,
even do it.
that's just scary. It must be a very scary feeling. It's like
It
there's something
is.
inside you that you need to push.
It is.
I mean,
I know.
I could contemplate that, geez, pushing
I
something.
know. I'll never forget when my first pregnancy, I was over the moon. I was so happy to, to have the two little lines pop up. And then the very next thing I thought was like, shit, it's in there and it's got to come out. you know. So yeah, it's in there, the baby's in there, and the whole birthing experience is a bit can be overwhelming. But if you are educated and empowered throughout your pregnancy, you can actually have, such a beautiful experience for you and your baby. So, that's where like my doula work and the placenta encapsulating is just has just been blowing my mind because you know
When you talk about doula work, Neve, when you talk, Angie, when you talk about doula work and your placenta work, can you explain a little bit or
so
without
yeah,
words of what actually you mean by that?
so a doula is just like an emotional support person for both mum and dad, or both parents. um, Antenatal support, usually a couple of visits, set that birth plan in place. Support during the labor, setting the environment and, the lights and and the music and just, making it all beautiful. And then you're also the advocate for the parents from the birth plan, because obviously in the heat of the labor, um, interventions can just sort of take over, and mum isn't really in a position to make decisions. So she's just like,
Yes.
oh, whatever, and doesn't then necessarily have the birth experience that she's wanting. So the doula actually just is your voice and your advocate to stick to your birth plan, but definitely doesn't replace a midwife or any medical. We're not medically trained.
But
We
I
are.
guess that education, that extra education is always
And
going to help,
and
especially
it really
when you talk
is
about natural birth and
natural birth. And yeah, and it's quite high. It's about 40%, I think, who engage a doula support for their birth, have 40% less, interventions throughout their birth. And it's, which is really quite phenomenal, and the labor tends to be quicker, and it's just an overall much more pleasant
I was quite
experience.
I was quite amazed when my wife was giving birth, and I couldn't believe that she did what she did, and it's not just what she did, but it's what all women do, and it's
Yeah.
just pushing out the baby, but then the support. And I think one of the things that most people, especially all you single men out there, don't realize, who don't have children, who aren't in a relationship, who aren't married, and who aren't fathers and husbands, that this has such an impact on your dynamics in the relationship. But how much a woman gives up of herself to have a child, and then all her life changes, her role,
Mm,
her character, her identity as a human being. So she's no longer a single woman or a woman, she's a mother.
mm,
And in doing so, she takes on a completely different role. And I think one of the things I've learned in relationships is those roles, those moments in a relationship need to be celebrated. Motherhood, birthdays,
yeah,
celebrations of like, wow, he's walking, she's walking.
yeah,
So
yeah,
those things, those moments really need to be celebrated, and they have to be celebrated as a family, as a unit. And when
yeah,
you do so, you're engaging, you're building bonds, you're creating special moments, and take photos, videotape
yeah,
those moments. I know I did. And
yeah,
through the tough times and that, those little moments, those helped. And that's why you stick together. And I'm not saying
yeah,
uh, that wasn't the case in your relationship, but I think that every little bit helps.
absolutely. I didn't, and that's what I didn't feel supported at all through my births, which was, quite disappointing, and but it just was what it was. And yeah, yeah, that's a whole nother story. I won't go there, but
Neve,
it wasn't a good experience at all. It was actually quite traumatic, and therefore um on about day 3 or 4 for me, when the baby blues set in particular with my second baby, oh, it was horrific. And it was only for a couple of days, but I was very emotional, and just really did not feel supported in that whole period, actually. But yeah, you're absolutely right,
that must be
because
with a
just
lot of women, Angie. I mean, like, I know a lady that you and I both know that's been to one of the courses that we've both done, and we won't
yeah,
mention names, but she had three children, two girls and a boy, and on every time she went to the hospital, she was dropped off by her husband, and he left her there, and he said, "I can't handle it. I can't be in the room." And he was this tough guy that wanted to go to the gym and work out, and
yeah,
look in
right,
the mirror and take his shirt off and stuff like that. Yet he couldn't put up with that. So
yeah.
I think there's emotional support, but then there's other support, especially being in the room. I couldn't.
I find that really disappointing, for him. I understand where he's coming from. Maybe if he was educated, while she was pregnant and more exposed to stuff, you know, you know, um, instead of being grossed out by it, be engrossed, learn about it, like this is your wife and your baby, and, like learn, educate yourself. Um, so it's what's happening, and so that's what I plan to be doing inside my app, and in particular with my placenta encapsulating, you know like placentas are just absolutely jam-packed with so much goodness, and it's only us and like the camelid families, your camels and llamas and alpacas and that, who don't consume the placenta when they deliver their baby. Everyone, all the other mammals do, right? And,
That's
you
interesting.
know, yeah, so I've done, I've just, so the research is just, it's mind blowing, the benefits of, the hormones that are, active after processing, you know, after dehydrating and the encapsulating process, you know, the the placenta capsules, offer 24% of your recommended daily allowance of iron, and um, you know, um, estradiol, like it's loaded with estrogen, to the point where the studies have proven not to let teenagers consume them. Not that they would, but because um, you know because of hair growth, and they started maturing because there was that much estrogen in the placenta. Like, they did a small study, and that's what it proved. And allopregnanolone, like, there's some big words in there, Dad, but allopregnanolone, right, is an active hormone um, found present in the placenta capsules. Now, that hormone is the only active ingredient in the only FDA approved postnatal depression medication that they offer, and it's there active in your own placenta. Like, it's endless. Like, the list of benefits is absolutely endless. And I think I really feel very passionate about, bringing awareness, the power of the placenta, because, we can even make tonic tinctures and lotions, and it's great nappy rash cream. Like, it's great for nipple soreness when you're breastfeeding, lactating, like the milk, like, it creates, in some studies, it's created 20 grams, even way more than 30 grams of milk per feed. Like, it's actually phenomenal, the benefits.
Let me ask you a question, Neve. Maybe you can answer this. I don't, because I know my sister-in-law and my brother have talked about this many times.
Yeah.
My wife fell pregnant and our children were born. She was finding it hard to express. She was finding it hard to breastfeed them. So we had to go
Mm.
on formula. Not that we wanted to,
Yeah.
but we had to. We tried many things. We tried eating licorice, we tried eating cinnamon, and all the other things that were
Yeah.
suggested to us.
Yeah.
Is there any other things that you've come across that have actually worked that mothers can look forward to in their next birth, and maybe make things a little easier when it comes to breastfeeding their babies?
Well, I look, I've heard of, um, lactating, like cookie dough, and you can make cookies, but uh, um, I'm sure they're loaded with some kind of hormone. But like, I feel like I'm just a true advocate and voice for the placenta, Maydad, because I know it's not for everybody, and I truly believe that that's because it has been a taboo subject. It people get completely grossed out about it, and it's the absolute life force of your baby.
You
It's what feeds and nourishes your baby.
so you
And
are consuming that. You feel, and maybe that the studies have shown that consuming the placenta has shown so much benefits,
so many
nutritional
benefits.
values, emotional
And
value.
I absolutely, and I mean, everyone just needs to, I believe, everyone just needs to open up to, you know, um, other options, other ideas. Just be curious, and explore other avenues, because sometimes one person just isn't going to tell you absolutely everything. And, I think you can be a bit blindsided or left behind. And, I mean, I know I did. I had 4 babies. I didn't even get to look at not one of my placentas. I didn't even get asked if I wanted to look at them. And I feel really devastated about that. And I mean, traditional Chinese medicine have been using placentas for over 1400 years. Like, there's cultures, and there's cultural traditions and rituals, and these, they have been, they've been worshipped. And I think in more westernized, industrialized times, it's been kept from us. I think the benefits are being kept from us, and I feel the woman's power also has been taken away, um, and not celebrated. as it should be. It's just been medicalized rather than celebrated. And, like in the hospitals, it's like, if you haven't had this baby in the next 60 minutes, we're going to have to intervene. I've heard those things.
Yeah,
Like that is
it's
that is
almost like,
crazy.
but it's almost like you don't get a choice. It's almost like
You
um,
don't, but we do. You do have a choice if you
dude,
educate yourself and you open up to other options, and but if you don't,
this is a great
you
thing.
will.
This is a great thing
Yeah, and
about
it's
these Zoom sessions. When I first started doing these Zoom sessions, all I really wanted to do is gain more information, build connections with other practitioners and health and wellness experts. But at the same time, I wanted to share free information to people searching, wanting to
yeah,
get that education and learn more. Perhaps some of the stuff that we shared tonight and you've talked about, um, people watching this back or women about to have babies who are currently pregnant and about to give birth to a newborn are going to go and explore different things and perhaps
yeah,
delve into something that they weren't aware of. And I think some of these today in the hospitals and that they just want to help you, give birth and make sure it's a safe birth and the baby comes out, but not even give you the option or the choice of wanting to have uh, and not have interventions and have other things. I know my wife, if they said, as you said, if
mm,
their waters if a water hasn't broken in an hour's time or something like that, will
yeah,
induce
intervene.
intervene and induce.
Mm,
And
mm,
like I think things like cesarean, uh, that is quite traumatic on a woman, especially when excuse me, when it was a
absolutely.
huge scar. And so
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
birth to this
And
beautiful.
the recovery, I mean, I never had one, but I've
Yeah, she's
heard about the recovery
left with this.
is just intense. Yeah.
Mm.
But there's even just, simple things like, delayed cord clamping and things like that, like wait, like if you wait till the cord goes white, the your baby has just received a third of its blood through that cord,
Mm.
So, like they talk about delayed cord clamping for, 30 to 60 seconds, which is better than cutting it instantly. But, if you delay that cord clamping until the cord goes white, till the placenta's pushed all the blood through the cord into the baby's about Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the baby's, especially a preterm baby, is something like, 65% less chance of having a transfusion because it's gained an extra third of its blood capacity. Like it's crazy. Um,
You know
that
something,
I
Angie,
mean,
when I was born, it's incredible what you're sharing because I'm reflecting on my childbirth and I can't remember this far back, but I can remember enough from what my mum told me. And my mum is no longer alive, but our mother is no longer alive, I should say. But she did share with us as I got older that when I was born as a twin, I was too small and unwell to uh, not be in an incubator. So I was incubated for 7 weeks, and my brother was incubated for 6 weeks because we were just way
wow,
too small,
too
way too.
small. Yeah,
Um, and that was obvious because she was such a petite woman. It was incredible that she had twins.
iridu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think what trauma that puts on a mother and what trauma on her body, on a mind, on a mental health, and
Mm,
also on the child, on the baby, on the newborn and how susceptible they are to other things later on down the throughout life. I know that
yeah.
my brother was more filled out and he was healthier when he came out, but when I came out, I was really small, really tiny.
Yeah.
Uh, I think as I got later in life, where I found myself prone to getting flus sometimes, or prone to having ending up with say stuff like chronic fatigue from having glandular fever and stuff like that. My body and my immune was just not as resilient as his was, and I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
there's a lack of education, educating mums and educating society
Mm.
about
Mm.
the journey of birth,
Yeah,
and I think if
yeah,
more people like you spoke out about
yeah.
different things without intervening, um, that could all be prevented.
Yeah, I 100% agree, like I think education and just yeah, being open and looking at all different, ways of
Yeah,
support and you know,
because
and
all it is, Angie, would you say that all it is creating a great environment, creating uh, a great experience, but also the best experience and the most healthiest and wellness experience for the baby and for the mother to have, obviously affecting them in the long term.
yeah, for mum and baby, like, to have that good antenatal support, a great birth experience, and to have that support, up until baby's at least 3 months old, are just really good foundations to, you know, set mum up ultimately to to move on and, not fall into that fatigue and then depression and just have all of those other things and then all and then the emotional side of it, where she's feeling lost and isolated and like just
Not worthy,
comparing
unvalidated. Yeah.
herself and thinking everyone else, oh, she's doing it good, how come I'm not, or but yeah, and so I think so. Yeah, ultimately, I have created sort of all of those elements in my work, sort of to support mum, emotionally, physically, spiritually, um, through that postpartum period, and also along the way, I have a beautiful package, which is the Divine Motherhood Experience, which includes all of that support, birthing, water birthing, and all of my photography as well. So, like maternity, birth photography, newborn, and a bonus 3 month session on our final visit. So,
How cool is
and
that?
yeah, so it's an all round, you know, it's a very exclusive and intimate experience to share with the family, and you've just got me. So, you haven't got, this one and that one, and,
And
it's
it's
just
moments you
me.
can't get back. It's moments that you
And
want, you need,
yeah,
because you really can't get those moments back. They're gone within a blink of an eye, aren't they?
oh, they really are. I mean, my eldest is 23 in a couple of months or next month. And I'm like, what the hell, And so, what I've also created, which I am super excited about, um, is inside the Flourish Your Birth Journey app, I have created the most beautiful pregnancy journal, and all the prompts are inside there. And it's just self-paced, so you can fill things out as they resonate. You can go back and fill things out. It takes you through the full birth journey, which is your baby's first rite of passage, and it's yours as well. Well, not yours, but it's mum's as well, moving from maiden into motherhood, which is a really incredible transformation. So really digging deep into your birth story can really set your baby up, and yourself up, and into baby's first week of life. And then on completion of that, it then gets printed into a gorgeous hardcover keepsake book. So yeah, so that's all inside the app as well, and that's also included in my Divine Motherhood um, experience as a keepsake to the whole lot. And, my inspiration behind that was exactly that. Maydad, it wasn't too long ago, about 18 months ago, you know, I'm 50 this year. I've had 4 children. My eldest is nearly 23 and my youngest is nearly 15. And it was probably about, 18 months ago or 12 months ago. And I was chatting with someone and I'm thinking, what kid did I have that craving with? And, like all of these little things. And I'm thinking, I can't remember. And, I had so many beautiful, pen to paper pregnancy journals, like gifted to me at different times through each pregnancy. And, I was really quite hopeless like that. And I never completed them, the pen to paper thing just, it just didn't work for me and I never completed them. And therefore I couldn't tell you where they are. Whereas everyone lives on their phone, the journal's inside the app. And when it's complete, it gets printed into a beautiful hard-covered book, and it'll be a family heirloom definitely in time to come. And you also receive a digital version, flipbook digital version of it as well, which down the track, not straight away, but down the track, you'll be able to have bits of video snippet, and video messages for your baby and things like that, and from the grandparents and to the baby and things like that can be obviously in the flip book. So that will be down the track, which I'm super excited for. So all of it, there's a lot there.
It seems like you've got a lot going on, and I love your passion, and you're so excited about doing it. I was saying to somebody today, when I got involved in the work that I do, like, for example, boxing, I didn't get involved to just make money. I got involved because I was seeking education. I'm still seeking education. And when you embody that,
Yeah.
you're going to learn so much more, and you'll be able to
Yeah.
do things that
Yeah.
others don't. And like I think there is so much more than just to touch on a point that you shared, Angie, in regards to mums, newborns going through hard times, through going through um, cravings for eating certain things, going through
Yeah.
different moods, and feeling
Mm.
unvalidated, appreciated in that. And like through that time, it's not just not feeling unvalidated or not feeling supported in that, but those little things lead to suicidal thoughts. They lead to self-hate, self-resentment,
Yeah.
um, not feeling that you've got the same body that you did before the birth, and
Yeah.
just there
Yeah,
are
that's
so
big.
many things that a
Yes.
society don't really talk about. And I know that you being a mother of four and my wife being a mother of two, it was really different for me and with my wife when before the kids were born. So, for example, let's say intimacy, you might not have the same intimacy drive, or you might not have the same moments as you did before, simply because you have kids around and they're our priority,
Yeah.
and you're mindful of all that. But
Yeah, that's right.
this whole process, this whole energy, this whole dynamics of your relationship has changed, and it does have an
Changed.
effect on a personal perspective.
Oh, absolutely, mate. And I know in my own marriage, there was a massive switch in roles. Probably once we had 2 kids, definitely when we had 2 kids, and I took on the masculine role, and because I kind of had to. But there wasn't any room. Well, I had to do everything, like, and I was staying at home. So, like I was keeping the house and looking after the kids and, doing all of that while he went to work, which was fine. Like I felt that, that was all I wanted anyway. But as for then, it was like then I had to do all the care for the children, they're all their social stuff and all of our social stuff and the finances and the just the organizing of everyone's lives. It was just very masculine, and then it didn't really leave him room to bring that masculine in, if you know what I mean. It was very, and I do feel that that can have a lot to do as well with breakdowns of relationships, just the role reversals and you know,
He doesn't have, because he may not feel that he has his input. You may not feel that
well,
he's
yeah,
there. And
that's right.
got to be a
He's
fun.
probably feeling not worthy. He's probably feeling like, oh, he's either feeling not worthy um, because he's feeling masculinated, and then if he's feeling like that, then, I'm feeling like, well, then it's like kind of see, I have to do it because he doesn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? So, so it's,
I know when my first child was born, and even with the second one, I was more prepared for it with the second one. But I realized that it was all about the baby and it was always about the mum. And then as it got further and further, we were going into conversation, how's the baby? How's the mum? And slowly and surely, I
yeah,
realized my role was just to support and not to think about,
yeah,
oh, well, what about me? Because it's not really about me, it's about the family. And my role as a father was to
yeah,
support. So it wasn't like, oh, they're getting all the attention or it's all about them and it's no longer about me. It was never really about me, it was about us. And that's what we
yeah,
work towards. And
yeah,
that's when you're working towards building a good family unit. And
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
I think as you get older and as the kids grow older, what results in being a good dad and a good mum, and it's just good parenting and understanding your role and just giving the best of yourself. And I think a lot of that
Absolutely.
is lost along
And
the way
you
because
must keep that respect for each other, that true respect for each other and have that crystal clear communication because, you know, it can easily fade away, y- you know, it's without that communication and that respect, relationships can be really, you know, where we didn't have that, and I've heard of so many that when you lose the respect and the communication, you kind of like you don't think you can crawl back from that because well, you begin to not know the person and they begin to not know you really, and then you start growing apart and um,
I'll share
you
something,
know,
Angie. For a long time after the kids were born, I didn't sleep in the same bed with my wife, and it wasn't because I chose to or didn't. She chose to. It just happened that way.
yeah,
Um, just happened that way. And now
yeah.
sleeping beside each other and that, and I feel um, one of the most important part in the relationship is pillow talk, and
Oh, yeah.
talk about we're having the house renovated. So what are you going to do with the electrician, or when is the plumber coming around? Just little talk like that. Or Leilani, my daughter, she's got a dance performance coming up, and Jaden's got his soccer training. Who's going to take him? What time does he need to be there? Those little moments, those little
Yeah.
conversations, you don't realize how powerful they are, and how much an investment
Mm.
they are to creating stronger
And
bonds with your relationship
yeah,
with your.
absolutely. And especially, when the one parent's at home with the young kids all day and then the other parent's at work and then, whatever parents at home, they've been watching ABC Kids all day or, like talking like babies. The partner comes home and you're like, blah, 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 like, oh, an adult to talk to, like, and and then the partner that comes home from work thinks, oh my God, I'm home. I just want to like chill out. I
Relax.
don't really want to
Well,
talk,
yeah, yeah,
and it's like, well, you gotta talk. You gotta talk. How was your day? Like, talk about it, like, not
100%.
just, yeah, good, like open up and really support each other because, like you said, the dads are exactly the same. They're going through the similar things, of their own. And, I think that's definitely an area that, you know, um, just needs a whole lot more attention, dad's transitioning into fatherhood, and I don't think there's a great deal out there. I've only seen a couple of, sort of, coaches that actually focus on, dads really transitioning into fatherhood. And I think it's such a massive, it's so massive. It just, it's worth it. You need to invest in yourself and your family and, for your future. And it's, and like, it all starts with you, you know.
It sure does. Angie, we could talk on and on and on, and
We really could.
supportive and so stoked to catch up with you. Look, I know
Yeah,
there's
likewise. Thanks
going
for
to be
having
another
me.
time that we're going to get on the Zoom and talk some more about your adventures and your journey when at another chapter. I'm really looking forward to it. If
Yeah, I love
before we
that.
go finish off tonight's Zoom, can you just share with us if any of the people watching this back want to learn about how to get in contact with you or learn about the great work that you do? What's your Facebook page? And if you could share maybe what your Instagram is or your website or how to
Yeah.
get in contact with you.
Thank you. Yeah, so you can find me at Flourish Your Birth Journey. I am on Facebook, Instagram, just about to start a TikTok account there, and www.flourishyyourbirthjourney.com. And yeah, everything's on there. And my app. I'm in the App Store, not in Google Play Store just yet. I should be in there within the next 2 weeks. So Google have quite a process trying to get in there. So
Amazing
but I
stuff.
am in the App Store, which is super exciting.
Amazing. Well, there you go, everyone. Great talking to you, Angie. Before we leave, I just wanted to share with you, don't forget next week I'm going to catch up with Wayne Ness, a hypnotherapist, who's going to be talking to us about the benefits of hypnotherapy and what is hypnosis. Other than that, I just wanted to remind you all that this Saturday, 15th of March, I'll be running my half-day footprints retreat right here at beautiful Bondi Beach. The retreat will start off at 5:45 in the morning on Bondi Beach, just before sunrise. We will be doing yoga with Emily, the yoga coach, and that will be a mixture of yoga, human movement, and breath work. We will then walk back to Bondi Boxing Gym where we'll run our functional training classes and boxing classes. And after having a great workout, we're all going to be fed healthy meals from Up South Cafe, catered meals from them award-winning chefs that are going to serve us detoxing smoothies, and we're going to be having healthy wraps, fresh juices, and fruit. After that, we're going to be doing a empowering vision session, one that I called my own Footprints Retreat Vision Session. It is a very empowering sessions where I go into a personal internal representation. I talk to you about your journey. I talk to you about your submodalities and any underlying negative beliefs that you might have. We are then going to conclude that session and move on to the famous Health and Wellness Center, Nimbus on Bondi Road, where we're all going to have ice baths, and we were going to conclude that with some acai bowls and finish off the day there. It's going to be an amazing half day.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
It is. If you want to learn more, shoot me a message at ynvhealthandwellness@hotmail.com or look me up on my Facebook, Mayedad Ronan's Coaching or Mayedad Ronan on Facebook, or simply give me a call on 0402 622 662. Until next week, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys joining me and Wayne, the hypnotherapist. It's great seeing you here, Angie, and I look forward to catching up
Yeah.
soon. From Angie and I, have an amazing
Thank
evening, everybody.
you. Take care.
Take care. Cheers.